What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Soge Kami here, and I'm back at it again with One Piece 1112. This chapter is called Hard Aspect, and it's another setup chapter, but it's probably one of the better ones we've had yet. I'm not complaining, I really wanted to see some action. We got two chapters with Zoro in it, Jinbei, Sanji. We did not see them in this chapter, but that makes their return to action going to be that much more exciting. So on the cover story, it's Oni Child, Yamato, and the Holy Inari Shrine Pilgrimage, Volume 3. And then it's what's going on is consider this parting gift payment for a favor I must ask of you. And it's Yamato asking Kinemon for a favor, and she seems to be like paying him or giving him something. I'm not sure what it is. It could be something that maybe Odin had written that she wrote down for him that was in the journal, something interesting. But what's more interesting is what she could be asking Kinemon. Is it something to do with a technique, or is it something to do with like maybe teaching Momo a technique? But we already know Momo was going to be trained by like Denjiro or something, right? So I wonder what it could be, or what this is leading up to, and why she asked Kinemon in particular. So I think we're going to just have to leave that one up and see where that one goes. But more Yamato. We all love Yamato. And hopefully, we saw Jinbei in a cover story before he joined. So hopefully we can see something with Yamato before she joins. He joins. They join. I'm a big fan of Yamato. I always loved Yamato from the moment I saw them. And I was a little disappointed when Yamato didn't join the crew, obviously, like everybody else. But this is like signs of things yet to come. Yamato is essentially part of the crew. Luffy said that they, you're one of us. If you ever want to join the sea, give us a call. We'll come get you. And then so the chapter starts. Mark III pacifists have all been disabled by Venus Juro. Venus Juro was moving at like the speed of light, putting in overtime work. And then Venus Juro laments to himself that Vegapunk's decision to give Bonnie power to control the pacifista was like a bad decision. And now Venus Juro is basically implying that, I have to go and stop Bonnie now, and she's only 12 years old, but I don't care. So it seems like Venus Juro has some type of morality, at least amongst him. He was thinking Bonnie is 12, but like the mission is more important than your age. And we even see this Bonnie a bit later on about how age factors into things. Now, by the giant ship, we see Frankie facing off against Red King, and we saw, these vice admirals standing in front of the ship from beforehand, and we knew that there was going to be some type of face-off. But Frankie literally one-hits the vice admiral. Like, the vice admiral agenda is dead. After we saw that vice admiral get one hit by like Dory, and then it was like, okay, that's a giant, what are you going to do? But like Frankie with a strong right, like knocks out Red King. So it is what it is. His whole arm breaks and everything. Frankie no hockey just did that. It's really not looking good for the Vice Admiral agenda. And then so Bonnie is fighting Pomsky, and then Pomsky says something about Bonnie's dad, completely disrespects him. So we have enraged Bonnie, turns Pomsky into a baby, and then she just one hits him as well. And that was like pretty insane. So Bonnie, basically her power is working overtime. Her belief, her power was based, especially the things that had to do with enlarging herself, that was based on Nika. She didn't even enlarge herself now, so we know that she has more left in the tank, a lot more. York and Mars are watching the Vegapunk broadcast, and then they try to go to the area where the Vegapunk are filming, and they still can't find the broadcast snail. Mars blasts the area, tries to destroy that room, and York, basically is saying, Mars, like, no, that's not the right way to do this. You're going to destroy the labo phase, and we need all this stuff. Basically, there are bombs, machinery up here. If you destroy it all, we're all just going to die, or I'm going to die, and then I won't be able to do this, and we need the scientific equipment. As they think about where the snail could be, Mars hears a voice. This could be the voice of all things, in the situation, and this could be how Venus Juro was able to find all of the pacifista Mark IIIs so quickly. And he basically says like, oh, where's the entrance to Punk Records? Because that's where the snail was like broadcasting from, So Mars flies up to Punk Records, and in this moment finally sees Stussy and Kaku. Kaku's still trapped in the bubble. Stussy is by the computer. And so it could be, and we also saw York with a weapon. So it could be that York's going to go this way to try and stop Stussy from helping the Straw Hats escape. because at this point Stussy had stayed behind to help the Straw Hats escape by, bringing down the barrier around the Labo phase, and then the Straw Hats can fly off. But we saw York pick up a weapon. So, like, I don't know what York's going to do with that weapon, how York's going to introduce back to against some of the main characters. But we do know that York has this weapon now, and Stussy, is ready and available. And it would be interesting if in this scuffle, if Kaku is released, and then which side Kaku decides to play on. Because Kaku and Stussy seem to be, at least able to talk to each other as of right now, but who knows what decision or where his loyalties will lie. It seems like he's really pro-government right now, but he doesn't know that Mars was willing to sacrifice him. Mars could have easily went over to where Kaku was and freed him, but, he had more important things to do with his time at that moment because, there's a time crunch when it comes to getting up and destroying the transponder snail so it doesn't broadcast this message. And also, we still haven't seen any of the Seraphim in a very long time, and I wonder what the plan is for them. Like, they're all trapped in these bubbles underneath the building, and so I want to know who's going to go down there and get them and what they're going to have them do before the end of the arc, because like there's already so many characters fighting right now. Imagine if the Seraphim are involved as well. That would be chaos, literally chaos. Now we go catch up with Usopp's group. Usopp, Chopper, Robin, Nami, Brooke, and this is the last Vegapunk, the two Vegapunks, Lilith, and they are trying to figure out, they're like, they're recapping on the fact that they left Stussy behind and Stussy volunteered herself. Then Edison says, like, we need someone to take down the barrier. Stussy's basically playing the Mr. 2 role in this arc, and Stussy is goated. I love Stussy for doing this, and I hope she gets away, and I hope that she's okay. Stussy, and then Nami says, all right, we won't let her sacrifice go down in vain. And Usopp basically says that, he loaded the Coupe de Burst. So now Usopp, after stopping the ship, he does another incredible thing. He loads the Coupe de Burst, and he is basically taking over on the roles that the other Straw Hat members who are gone have usually do. Usopp is stepping up in his own way. I don't know if it's because he is motivated by seeing the giants or if he's just motivated by wanting to escape, but Usopp is definitely stepping up in his own little way, and like a background way, the way that Usopp normally just functions. So I'm liking to see that. Hopefully we see more of that from him in the future as well. And Edison is motivated as well. He basically is saying, the Straw Hats are gutsy because there's a low chance, like their plan is instead of having the giant robot pick them up and fly them off the island, they're just going to Coupe de Burst off the island. And so they're like, oh, there'd be a low chance of survival. And he's like, well, we always make it out somehow. We can't stay here, so we're just going to fly off and everything will be okay. Someone will help us out. That's their plan right now. And Edison is motivated by that. Edison basically says, like, you guys, you Straw Hats, you guys are crazy. You guys have guts, and guts is the first step towards miracles, basically. And Edison came up with some type of plan, and he jumps off of the Labo phase, and he's falling down to like the floor, and he does a calculation. He says that's only gonna be 78% damage. He'll be all right from the lasers and then hitting the ground. So he's gonna be at 22%, but he has some type of plan. I don't know what it is or how it is, but he's gonna do something. So we're waiting on what's gonna happen from Edison. Next, we catch up with Luffy. Luffy, Dory, and Broggy continue to fight Jupiter, who is trying to inhale them. Luffy knocks a building into his mouth, which stops him, but then Luffy is, he basically depowered from Gear 5, and he ran out of energy, and the giants give him what's called like a Hakarl. It's like a giant fish, and then he is powered. He's not weak anymore. He's powered. He does a Gear 3 onto Mars, or Warcree, sorry, and uses Red Rock, one of his strongest attacks. The giants remark about how hard Warcree's skin is, but we see literally Luffy's hand is on fire. I don't know if that is fire coming from Warcree or like if it's some type of Amaterasu, and it's like infinite fire, but like, yeah, Luffy seems to be really hurt, and this could be like the similar thing that we saw with Saturn, who had like that poison. Warcree has like this fire about him, and then we see Warcree do like a menacing glare at Luffy, so I wonder what that's about. Maybe he sees an opportunity, and he's like, okay, so this guy's able to take damage now, let's take him out. You know, this is like Gear 5. You know, he sees the opportunity to take out Luffy for good. Back to Labostratum, we see what looks like Saturn's legs crawling up the Labo phase cloud. And, you know, Usopp's group is like preparing to defend themselves from it. You know, Usopp says, like, who are you? What are you? You know, in a scared way. But Usopp is the one stepping up, asking questions. And then Chopper asks, oh, is that like a crab's leg? And then lastly, we saw in like the dopest panel, we saw Venus Juro take out one of the giants and his blood-stained sword. He's standing in the shadow, all covered in black with his sword out, his sheath in hand with like his horse legs. And he's just like approaching Frankie and Atlas and Bonnie. And they're just standing there preparing for his attack. So at this point, we see like, and then lastly, we see Mars, who is approaching the transponder snail that he's found. And then we hear Vegapunk's voice, and it says like 1 minute left. You know, we're about to send off this message. And then Mars is like, oh, Vegapunk, you ran out of time. Sorry, bucko. And yeah, that's how the chapter ends. So it's the last second. All the Gorosei are in play. We saw all the Gorosei members, what they're doing in this chapter. And the Straw Hats, every Straw Hat except for Sanji, Zoro, and Jinbei are pinned down. And, you know, things aren't looking good for us right now. So we can expect next chapter to be action-packed. We might get this message that we've been waiting for. I can feel like it's going to be 2 more chapters before we get this message play. And the next chapter where there'll be, like, how the Straw Hats are defending themselves, like what we're going to see. We do know that, you know, Sanji, Zoro, Jinbei are also free right now. So it could be anything from the point that Sanji and Zoro, or Sanji and Frankie team up because we know they're on the same level. So Sanji could hear Bonnie scream. Sanji can move at like extra light speed, get over there to help protect Bonnie, and then it'll be just Sanji and Frankie versus Venus Juro. And then same thing could be happening at the top. Saturn will be approaching Usopp's crew. And then Jinbei, Zoro are on that level, so they can help protect them there. It could be anything, really, but I'm really curious as to how, especially Luffy and Dory and Broggy defend themselves against Jupiter and Workery, because it's like 2v3, but these characters are basically unkillable. Right now, it doesn't seem like... I feel like there's a universe where the Straw Hats can get away, but I don't know how they would beat the freaking Gorosei unless they all figure out something they can do that would destroy the Gorosei. With Doll and Bluegrass also, we saw that they were on their way to the giant's ship. You know, they were floating on like that robot going toward the giant ship, so they could end up seeing Venus Juro in his awakened demon form, and that won't be good because, you know, these characters are supposed to have all these things hidden. So this could end up being like a turning point for the Vice Admirals, seeing something that they shouldn't, and then having like a change of heart. The same way that we saw Lucci, the way that he saw Mars, right? He was basically like stunned. Kaku was scared when he saw Mars as well. So it could all be like this moment where the people, it's revealed what these Gorosei are, and either they come out of hiding or they silence the people who saw them. I don't imagine the thing that Vegapunk has to say is about the Gorosei itself, more so about the Void Century, but I would still love to see whatever the Void Century information is be coming from Robin, something that Robin releases to the world, because I feel like her finding out, like, this can't, to me, this can't, if he just unleashes all the information about the Void Century, what is it that Robin is looking for? You know, that kind of undoes Robin's work. So we have to think that whatever is about to be released, there's still more information to find out that is unknown, whatever is on the Poneglyph, which is the truth about the Void Century. So this can't be everything. Maybe it'll just be the knowledge that the One Piece is the name of the kingdom, the ancient kingdom that, you know, that the people of the Void Century lived on. That could be, I think, an adequate announcement for the people, because then they'll be like, why can't we know about this ancient kingdom? That's some sort of information. But the One Piece itself could be something deeper. So it's, I think whatever is going to be said by Vegapunk is just level 1. And I also want to take note that the people who appeared in the recording that Vegapunk was doing, which was Shaka, Vegapunk, and then I don't remember his name. I almost said Asparagus, but those 3 Vegapunks are also the Vegapunks that died. You know, the other Vegapunks are the ones that are alive still, and you know, so that is just interesting to me that the Vegapunks who appeared in those videos are the same Vegapunks who died. So I wonder if having like York betraying them was part of Vegapunk's calculation, because he knew which Vegapunks would end up in peril, and we do know that Shaka knew beforehand that he was gonna die. So I am part of the people who believe that the transponder snail that they see up in the Punk records is just a trapped transponder snail, and that will be revealed at the end of the next chapter. And then when they destroy the transponder snail and then the message continues, that's when we find out that Dragon is, you know, tapping the area still. And that could also be part of a greater trap for when that transponder snail is destroyed. It can start broadcasting some of the stuff that's happening on the island itself, like a trigger that says, hey, this guy's in this room, look at him now, like everyone look at this person who's infiltrated Vegapunk. And we know that he's infiltrated him because this is a live, this part of the video is live, you know. So anyway, let me know what things you are looking forward to next chapter. I want to see just the Straw Hats starting using some moves. If anybody has an upgrade since Wano, let's see what it looks like. We definitely seem like we're going to be seeing all the Straw Hats in action. I want to catch up on Sanji. I want to catch up on Zoro, where they are, what they're thinking. I want to know more about Venus Juro. Like, I think he's the most interesting Gorosei member to me, just because he aesthetically looks the most different. And he has seemingly a moral, like he's more moral about the fact that Bonnie is 12 versus Saturn, who was like more okay with the fact about killing Bonnie. I want to know if Luffy's gonna get back into Gear 5. I want to see how that goes. And I'm really just excited to have One Piece back. You know, it was 3 long weeks. I held out strong, and we are here. We all made it. So definitely happy to see One Piece back in effect. And I know we were all, you guys at home are excited about that too. So make sure to subscribe to the channel. This is Soge Kami, and we're out.